Good evening. Our City Council is now in session. Please stand for the invocation by Councilman Miltier and the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Eternal God, our Heavenly Father, again, we come in your presence. We're grateful for this opportunity. Give us the wisdom and courage as we go through making decisions. We ask these blessings in your Son's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Freedom of Information Act certification is required at this time. Madam Clerk, would you please present the resolution for consideration?
A resolution certifying the closed meeting of June the 19th, 2013, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3712, is presented for Council's consideration at this time.
Thank you.
Move for adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you. Next would be our approval of the minutes, and I understand there is an amendment. Councilman Duman.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a motion to amend the regular minutes from May 15th session, specifically page 4 that refers to Monday through Friday for hours of operation of the pawn shop, to read Monday through Saturday, and move to approve the remainder of the minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend and approve. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you. We have no special presentations this evening, so at this time, we would consider the removal of the consent agenda items and the adoption of the entire agenda as presented. Removal of a consent agenda item would be necessary only if any member of the City Council wishes to vote on that item separately, and then a motion would be required. Questions and requests for information during the consent agenda would be after our agenda speakers. Would any member like any item removed for separate vote? If not, could I have a motion to approve the entire agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you. Do we have any agenda speakers this evening?
No, ma'am.
Madam Clerk, please present the items on the consent agenda for presentation.
Item number 7, an ordinance amending Section 54-122 of the Code of the City of Suffolk to regulate the use of pneumatic guns. Item number 8, an ordinance to accept and appropriate grant funds from the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services for the Virginia Cooperative Extension 2013 Plastic Pesticide Container Recycling Program. And item number 9, an ordinance to accept and appropriate grant funds from Keep America Beautiful Incorporated for the City of Suffolk's Cigarette Litter Prevention and Education Program.
Thank you. Would any member of council like any additional information? Sir? 7? Madam Manager, item 7.
Yes, Mayor Johnson, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council. This item allows the City of Suffolk to complement state code change as it relates to pneumatic guns or BB guns. The law was put into effect a year ago, and we're just following and putting in the housekeeping measures for the City of Suffolk. Major Dean Smith of our Police Department is here if council has additional questions regarding this particular amendment.
Do we have questions? Not, could I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
The motion is to
Approve.
approve the consent agenda items. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you. We'll move on now to public hearings, and our first is an ordinance granting a conditional use permit request C-22-12. Madam Manager?
Yes, Mayor Johnson, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council, Scott Mills will provide the staff report.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Johnson, Vice Mayor Brown, members of City Council. The request before you is conditional use permit request C-22-12 to permit a place of worship in accordance with provisions of the Unified Development Ordinance. The applicant is Priscilla F. Johnson on behalf of John James Jr., property owner. Property affected is located at 3537 Pruden Boulevard, further identified as zoning map 25, parcel 58I, which is identified on the screen. The existing land use is a commercial building with commercial tenant space and associated off-street parking. This proposed land use would include some of the tenant spaces to be used as a place of worship, which would be less than 6,000 square feet. City's comprehensive plan identifies the properties being located within the central suburban urban growth area and with a suburban designation. And I have a couple slides here. This is just an overhead aerial photograph of the building in question. The applicant is proposing regular church services to be conducted on Sunday and Wednesday evenings. There's no daycare associated with this use. However, the applicant does intend to provide counseling, mentoring, and training services during the week in addition to after-work programs. There is an off-street parking area directly in front of the building that has capacity to serve both this use and other uses which are located on the property. Keep in mind the primary use of this church facility will be on Sundays when the other businesses are not in operation. The applicant will need to consult with the Community Development Division should this permit be approved in regard to any modifications that may be needed to the interior to satisfy the requirements of the Uniform Statewide Building Code. This parcel is located on Pruden Boulevard, has direct access off of Pruden Boulevard. Traffic engineering has reviewed this request and has found it to be satisfactory as it exists. The site is currently served by a private well and septic system. The private drinking well was previously approved and permitted by the Health Department. The existing septic system was determined to be adequate upon implementation of the recommendations of the private design professional, which recommended that they remove an existing shower unit from one of the facilities and replace the existing commodes with water-saving fixtures. There are several conditional use permit approval criteria which are outlined in your ordinance. Staff has reviewed these, and in your staff report, we've enumerated that this church satisfies those criteria. As such, the Planning Commission, at their meeting of May 21st, voted 8-0 to approve a resolution recommending approval of this request with the 3 conditions contained in your approving ordinance. Following your public hearing, should you have any questions, I'll be glad to entertain those.
Thank you. Prior to opening the public hearing, Madam Clerk, would you please explain the timing system for speakers?
This is a public hearing, and each speaker is asked to provide their name and address. We will have a 10-minute period for the proponents, 15 minutes for those in opposition, and then an additional 5 minutes for rebuttal. The podium is equipped with a visual timing cue system to assist our speakers in managing their time. At the 2-minute point, you will see the blinking green light. At the 1-minute point, you will see the yellow light. And once your time has expired, you will see a red light, and you will ask to be seated.
Thank you. This public hearing is now opened. Would the first proponent please come forward and give your name and address?
Good evening. My name is Dr. Princella Johnson. My address is 1565 Manning Road, Suffolk, Virginia 23434. I am the senior pastor and the founder of the Master's House Church and also the executive director of Y2K Academy CDC. I'm representing our organization tonight for this application. I'd like to first, of course, give honor to God and for being here, all of you who are part of council, to our mayor, our city manager, vice mayor, and all of the representatives tonight. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to partner with us in this application. The Master's House Church is a young church in our community, and we have been fulfilling the gospel commission by serving Suffolk citizens through not only spiritual teaching, which helps to promote public safety and healthy families, and also to spur economic development and growth in the lives of people by encouraging them to support our Suffolk businesses. But we also are involved in community services, which involves serving our youth through mentoring, partnering with local schools, and we intend to continue to be a good public citizen, and we have learned of all the conditions that are appropriate for us to be granted this conditional use permit. I'd like to thank this evening those who were instrumental in helping us, including the Director of Planning, Mr. Scott Mills. He met with me on several occasions outside of what I would think would be norm. And also Ms. Taylor, also my planner, Mr. Jordan. But also I had support from our Vice Mayor in knowing what would be appropriate to satisfy the needs of fulfilling the conditional use permit. I also have met with the building officials, and I'm aware and understand that these conditions must be complied with in order to receive this ordinance and the approval today. And as we continue to serve the city, we'd like to expand our services and partnerships with feeding programs, after school, and also serving military families. So we would appreciate your unanimous support of our application this evening. And we also have our architect who's available if you have any technical questions regarding the conditions, but we're fully aware of them and willing to comply.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, do we have anyone else to speak in favor of? Do we have anyone to speak in opposition? If not, we have a 5-minute rebuttal period. I'm assuming no. This public hearing is now closed. Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you so much. I had an opportunity to meet Dr. Johnson, and she didn't say this, but Dr. Johnson is retired from the armed services, I think the Army, and her husband is also retired from the U.S. Navy. And when they came to Suffolk, they saw a need to outreach to help disabled veterans and others within the community that they're capable of serving. So I just appreciate someone in this caliber. I appreciate you serving the country and making our country safe and giving me an opportunity to have freedom. And all the others, we really appreciate that. So at this time, I would like to make a motion that this application be accepted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you. We'll move to our next public hearing, which is an ordinance granting conditional use permit request C-10-13. Madam Manager?
Yes, Mayor Johnson, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council. At this time, Scott Mills, our Planning Director, will provide the staff report.
Thank you. The request before you is conditional use permit request C-10-13 to permit an accessory dwelling unit in accordance with provisions of the Unified Development Ordinance. The applicant is Marshall B. Cox on behalf of Gene Cox, who is the property owner. Affected property is located at 900 Pembroke Lane, further identified as tax map 10, parcel 43, which is displayed on the screen. And this use is proposing to convert an existing single-story accessory building into a 750-square-foot accessory dwelling unit for the use of the applicant's mother. The comprehensive plan identifies the property as being located in a rural, conservation, low-intensity residential area. The accessory dwelling unit is proposed to be located in an existing detached garage, which will be converted into living space. As I mentioned previously, in 2005, a new septic drain field was installed for the existing single-family dwelling, and the Health Department has confirmed that that system is adequate for this use as well and will be connected to such. The Unified Development Ordinance requires that a conditional use permit be obtained for an accessory dwelling unit in the agricultural zoning district. There are 7 supplemental use standards in the Unified Development Ordinance that pertain to accessory dwelling units. This application will satisfy all of those supplemental use standards. In addition, there are several approval criteria for conditional use permits. Staff has reviewed this application, found that this application will satisfy all of those criteria. As such, the Planning Commission at their meeting of May 21st voted 8-0 to approve a resolution recommending approval of this request with the 3 conditions contained in your approving ordinance. Following the public hearing, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to entertain those.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please explain the speaker system?
This is a public hearing, and each speaker is asked to provide their name and address. We will have a 10-minute period for the proponents, 15 minutes for those in opposition, and an additional 5 minutes for rebuttal. The podium is equipped with a visual cueing time system to assist speakers in managing their time. At the 2-minute point, you will see the blinking green light. At the 1-minute point, you will see the solid yellow light. And once the time has expired, you will see a red light, and you are asked to be seated.
Thank you. This public hearing is now open. Would the first proponent please come forward? Anyone to speak in favor of? Do we have anyone to speak in favor of? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
Marshall Cox, I'm the named here, trying to get this permit for my mother for a mother-in-law suite. She's almost 90. House is huge. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anyone to speak in opposition? I'm assuming, sir, you wish no rebuttal. This public hearing is now closed. Council,
Like to move for approval, conditional use permit C10-13.
we have a motion and a second to approve. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, can you cast your vote, please? Thank you. The motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to our next public hearing, which is an ordinance granting conditional use permit request C-17-13. Madam Manager?
Yes, Mayor Johnson, Vice Mayor, members of City Council, Scott Mills, our Planning Director, will provide the staff report.
Thank you. The request before you is conditional use permit C-17-13, again to permit an accessory dwelling unit in accordance with provisions of the Unified Development Ordinance. This has been submitted by Brian and Carmen Brooks. They are the applicants and the property owners. This property is located at 2452 Greenway Road, further identified as zoning map 77, parcel 30-3. Again, the property is displayed on the screen, and the property is zoned A agricultural. The existing land use is a 22.45 acre site, which contains agricultural fields and a 3,100 square foot single-family home and several detached accessory dwellings. Again, this proposal is to convert one of the existing single-story accessory dwellings on the property to an accessory dwelling unit for the care of the applicant's son. The comprehensive plan identifies this property as being located in the rural agricultural conservation area. The accessory dwelling unit is proposed to be located in an existing detached garage, again, which will be converted to living space for this purpose. The Health Department has confirmed that the septic tank is adequate, that is on site, and this use can be connected to that. Unified Development Ordinance does require a conditional use permit for accessory dwelling units in the agricultural zoning district. This application has been reviewed for compliance with the supplemental use standards for accessory dwelling units as established in the Unified Development Ordinance and found to be in compliance with all of those, in addition to being in compliance with the conditional use permit approval criteria, which are outlined in your staff report. This matter was approved to be fast-tracked, and as such, the Planning Commission at their meeting of June 18th voted 5-0 to pass a resolution recommending approval of this request with the 4 conditions contained in your improving ordinance. And following your public hearing, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to entertain those.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you please explain the timing system for our speakers?
This is a public hearing, and each speaker is asked to provide their name and address. We will have a 10-minute period for the proponents, 15 minutes for those in opposition, and then an additional 5 minutes for rebuttal. The podium is equipped with a visual timing cue system to assist speakers in managing their time. At the 2-minute point, you will see the blinking green light. At the 1-minute point, you will see the yellow light. And once that time, your time has expired, you will see a red light, and you are asked to be seated.
Thank you. This public hearing is now open. With the first speaker in favor of, please come forward.
Good evening. I'm Carmen Brooks. I live at 2452 Greenway Road, and I am here to answer any questions you may have about our application.
I don't think we have any questions at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this conditional use permit? Is there anyone to speak in opposition? Ma'am, there's a 5-minute rebuttal period. Thank you. This public hearing is now closed. Council?
I move that C-17-13 be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
The motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to our final public hearing this evening, which is an ordinance granting an ordinance text amendment OA2-13 to the Code of the City of Suffolk, Chapter 31, UDO. Madam Manager?
Yes, Mayor Johnson, Vice Mayor, members of City Council, Scott Mills will provide the staff report.
Thank you. The request before you is an ordinance granting an ordinance text amendment OA2-13 to amend the Code of the City of Suffolk, Chapter 31 Unified Development Ordinance by amending Section 31305 Conditional Rezoning, Section 31415 Chesapeake Bay Preservation Overlay District, and Section 31611 Stormwater Runoff. The purpose of amending the aforementioned sections of the code are to be in compliance with state code changes that were made by the General Assembly and become effective July 1st of this year. Therefore, we need to enact these amendments so our code is consistent with state code. These are basically housekeeping amendments. In Section 31305, very simply changing the reference in the code to reference Chapter 15.2, 23.3 of the Code of Virginia in subsections A, B, A and B, and C, and also to change in Section F1 the code reference to 15.2, 2286 instead of 2286.4. In Section 31.415, which is the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Overlay District ordinance requirements in the code, again, the primary purpose of these amendments are just to make changes to state code references. And, for example, in Section A1, the new reference will be 62.1-44-15-67. And these amendments for the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Overlay District simply make those types of changes as well. It also does in Section C7 delete some language that is being deleted due to the fact that the stormwater regulations have changed. And again, this is to be in compliance with the requirements of state law. And in Section 31.611, this section deals with stormwater runoff. Again, in Sections A4, B1, and B1B, changes are being made in A4 to reference or its successors to the Department of Conservation and Recreation, and also to reference the Virginia Stormwater Management BMP Clearinghouse. That is also referenced in Section B1. And in Section B1B, there'd be a change in state code references in those sections as well. In Section B2, again, it references the Virginia Stormwater Management BMP Clearinghouse. And in C2, again, just a minor change to clarify a state code change. And that concludes the amendments. Staff recommends that these amendments be approved. This item was also fast-tracked from yesterday's Planning Commission meeting due to the need to get these amendments in place prior to July 1st. And following your public hearing, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to entertain those.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Madam Clerk, please explain the timing system for speakers.
Each speaker is asked to provide their name and address and will receive 3 minutes. The podium is equipped with a visual timing cue system to assist speakers in managing their time. At the 1-minute point, you will see the blinking green light. At the 30-second point, you will see the yellow light. And once the 3 minutes has expired, you will see a red light, and you are asked to be seated.
Thank you. This public hearing is now open. Would the first speaker please come forward? Is there anyone wishing to speak? Not. This public hearing is closed.
Move for
Council?
approval of the ordinance. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
The motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you. We'll move on to ordinances, and our first is an ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds by the City of Suffolk, Virginia, and establishing the terms, details, and provisions for the payment thereof. Madam Manager?
Yes, Mayor Johnson, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council. At this time, Ann Seward, our Finance Director, will provide an overview of this item as well as companion item number 17.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of Council. This ordinance does provide for the preliminary authorization of the issuance and sale of bonds. There were a number of capital projects that were improved in the operating budget. In the operating capital budget, this bond sale would facilitate the funding that would support those. The amount that's been proposed for funding is $57,180,000. That does not include any refunding opportunities that we may realize, which is basically a savings or reduced interest rate possibility, and so we may call in some bonds that are outstanding and issue new ones at a lower rate. Specifically, the projects that are being funded through this issuance, $18 million in public utility projects, $11 million is the final installment for the Southern Elementary School, $11.9 million in the E911 equipment, replacement equipment project. We have about $8.5 million of matching funds to various VDOT projects, and then another $3 million for public safety initiatives and some equipment. A final authorization will be before you after you hold a public hearing, which we are recommending by motion that you schedule that for July 17th. This is simply a preliminary authorization before you tonight.
Thank you. An ordinance has been presented for Council's consideration. Council, any questions, comments, or motions?
Motion for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you. We'll move on to resolutions. We have a resolution this evening approving Healthy People, Healthy Suffolk Initiative. Madam Manager?
Yes, Mayor Johnson, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council. At this time, Debbie George, our Chief of Staff, will provide a brief overview.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of Council, Madam City Manager. The item before you for consideration tonight is a resolution that we feel could provide long-term benefits to the health and welfare of our citizenry. Recognizing the immediate and long-term health threats posed to our population from obesity and obesity-related health diseases, the Obesity Healthcare Foundation and Suffolk Partnership for a Healthy Community have partnered to create a comprehensive, citywide, year-long obesity prevention plan for the City of Suffolk. These agencies have been partners with the city in many projects and initiatives that have directly and indirectly benefited our citizens by coordinating the resources of our community in a collaborative effort to improve the mental, physical, and socioeconomic health of all Suffolk residents. The resolution before you tonight is an important piece of the comprehensive prevention plan. It signifies City Council support and encourages the promotion of healthy eating habits and increased access to healthy foods, attempts to create a walkable and physically active community, the promotion of policies that support healthy and active lifestyles, and the promotion of employee wellness policies and initiatives. We do recommend adoption of this resolution. We also have Robbie Lawton, who is the Executive Director of the Suffolk Partnership for a Healthy Community, with us tonight. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Council, do we have any questions?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Vice Mayor?
Okay, it's not a question, but I really would love for the person to come up and give us an overall view. The reason I'm asking, requesting this, I noticed now, I was looking at TV, and I think they have declared obesity as a disease now. So what we're doing is very, very important. And you're right on key. If this is a disease, that we need to do everything in our city to recognize that and begin to help to make everything well.
Vice Mayor Brown, I appreciate those comments. My name is Robbie Lawton, and I am the Executive Director of the Suffolk Partnership for a Healthy Community. I've been here in Suffolk since January. Thoroughly enjoy my time here so far. I really appreciate the mayor and her comments, her support, and the city manager's support on this, and all of City Council. On behalf of the Suffolk Partnership for a Healthy Community, and we have representatives from Obesity Healthcare Foundation, Diane Nelms, and Rick Spencer here tonight. They are our funders. We are the implementers of this plan. And Vice Mayor, as you made reference, it was just announced today that obesity is now classified by the American Medical Association as a disease. So it is telling us the importance of the effort that we are about to take. We have been planning for over a year on this process for the Healthy People, Healthy Suffolk initiative, and we are about 8 months into the initiation of our plan. We have a lot of work to do. We have well over 100 citizens from Suffolk that are involved in this initiative through different work groups, through different advisory groups, and through participation in some of our programs. And so a lot of people have seen the importance of this, and we are now, with your adoption of this official initiative and plan, we're ready to move forward and make some big changes with both our behaviors and our attitudes and how we look towards trying to be healthier.
Thank you.
We thank you very much for all of your efforts, and we look forward to partnering with you.
Thank you so much.
We have a motion on the floor to approve and a second. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion's approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you very much. We have no staff reports this evening, so we'll move on at this time to motions. We have a motion to schedule a public hearing for July 17th, 2013, at the City Council meeting regarding authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation public improvement bonds Series 2013. A motion would be in order.
Approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8 to 0.
Thank you. Our next motion is to schedule a public hearing to be held on July 17, 2013, to receive public comment on an ordinance to enter into a new lease for Box Hangar 6 at the Suffolk Executive Airport.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8 to 0.
Thank you. And our final motion is to schedule a work session for July 17, 2013 at 4 p.m. unless canceled. And just as a reminder, the July 3, 2013 City Council meeting has been canceled. So that's why we're doing the motion for the 17th.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8 to 0.
Thank you. We'll move on to this time to non-agenda speakers. Madam Clerk, do we have speakers this evening?
Yes, Mayor Johnson, we do have 3 individuals registered to speak as non-agenda speakers this evening. Each speaker will receive 5 minutes, and our podium is equipped with a visual cue timing system to assist speakers in managing their time. At the 2-minute point, you will see the blinking green light. At the 1-minute point, you will see the yellow light, and once your 5 minutes has expired, you will see the red light, and you will ask to be seated. Each person participating under the item of business entitled non-agenda speakers shall limit their remarks to the services, policies, and affairs of city government. Speakers appearing before City Council will not be permitted to participate in the following activities: to campaign for public office, engage in personal attacks, promote private business ventures, or use profanity or vulgar language. Speakers who violate these rules will be declared out of order by the presiding officer and will immediately yield the floor and be seated. Our first speaker is Phil McPhail, 1437 Williams Circle, representing the Boys and Girls Club Suffolk unit. He is the co-chairman, and the topic is the Boys and Girls Club Annual Barbecue and Oyster Roast.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Johnson, Vice Mayor Brown, members of the City Council, and other city officials. Thank you for the opportunity to speak briefly tonight. I am here tonight as an advocate for our boys and girls in the city of Suffolk. As you probably know, the Boys and Girls Club of Southeast Virginia has a club here in Suffolk, and we refer to the unit here in Suffolk as the Suffolk unit of the Boys and Girls Club. It first opened in the year of 2002, so we've been at it for a while, and it's been very successful. We operate out of John F. Kennedy Middle School, and we appreciate that opportunity. And at this point, we have served over 235 boys and girls aged 6 to 18 on an annual basis here in the Suffolk unit. I serve on the Suffolk board as co-chairman of the board of directors for the Suffolk unit, and I'm here to let you know that our program works. It's exciting what's happening for our young people, and I'm very proud to be a part of this organization. The Suffolk unit of the Boys and Girls Club offers a dynamic youth development program focused on achieving 3 primary outcomes with our club members, and they are academic success, good character and citizenship, and healthy lifestyles. Mayor Johnson, I know that you and your husband attended recently one of our Youth of the Year dinners over at the Ted Constant Center, and we appreciate your support and participation. That's just one of the things that our unit is a part of, and this unit has particularly encouraged character, leadership, and service in our high school teen club members. In addition, our summer program has just gotten underway this week. One of the functions of our unit board of directors is to help assure financial integrity of our club for our boys and girls. And I'm here tonight to invite you and to encourage you all to attend and enjoy our 4th annual oyster roast and barbecue. The event will be held along the river at the park behind the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn here in beautiful downtown Suffolk. The date for our special event to benefit the Suffolk boys and girls is Saturday, October 5th. And we personally, again, invite each of you to attend the oyster roast and barbecue, enjoy good fellowship, great food, see our club members perform on stage, and listen to some really good music. The event will be from 5 to 8 p.m., again at Constance Wharf Park, and we hope that you will mark that date on your calendars with the big red circles. And now, if I may, I'd like to introduce you to Reggie Carter. Reggie is our director for the Boys and Girls Club Suffolk unit and has been our director for over 4 years and is doing a wonderful job and has a heart for young people. He will tell you more about his program, but just briefly, and he will then introduce you to a couple of our club members. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Reggie Carter, 3415 Azalea Garden Road, Norfolk, Virginia, representing the Suffolk Boys and Girls Club Suffolk unit regarding the Boys and Girls Club annual barbecue and oyster roast.
Good evening, council members, Mayor Johnson, Vice Mayor Johnson, all the council members. Thank you so much again for this opportunity. I'm extremely excited about being before you all. A little bit nervous, and I won't be before you all long. But again, I'm just extremely excited about what's going on in our Boys and Girls Club. Again, and actually, I've been there at that club for a little over 5 years, actually, and it's been a great journey for me. We have some dynamic young people that are there at the club, and it's been my sole mission there as far as to help fulfill the mission of the Boys and Girls Club, which is to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, responsible, and caring citizens. And those who need us most, that follows under every child, I would say, that's in the city of Suffolk. Every child, whether they're a two-parent family or there's a single parent, they're military. We serve all those kids there at the club. And we're having an exciting time right now. I have some of my star members with me that are just what makes my jobs that much easier, which makes me be able to get up every day and come in and work with all the young people in Suffolk. I'm so honored and privileged to be able to serve them, to try to give them direction and give them guidance. These kids are dynamic. They help make our club a spectacular place for kids of all ages, 6 to 18. And again, I really encourage you all to come out for that oyster roast. It's a great event, and it just really helps showcase what our young people are doing. I have with me Samson Worrell and Alicia Jackson. And these two young people, they really are the shining example of what our priority outcomes are, which is academic success. Samson recently graduated from Lakeland High School, was a dynamic student there as well as an athlete there, and he's going to be attending Virginia Union in the fall. He was also our 2000 and 2013 Youth of the Year for the city of Suffolk. So he did an awesome job there, represented Suffolk extremely well, and I'm just so proud of him and just what he's accomplished, what he's doing, just not in the club but also out in the community. Alicia Jackson, she's a rising junior at Kings Fork High School. She's been with us now a little bit over 3 years, and she's a future Youth of the Year. I'm putting it out there right now. She's a future Youth of the Year, and she's a dynamic young lady as well. Great academic record. She has over 3.76 GPA currently, and part of that healthy lifestyles. Alicia, her aspirations are to be to attend the Culinary Institute of America, which is the top cooking institute in the United States. She actually uses us and comes in and brings in different dishes for us. And she's actually going to be heading up our Young Chefs Academy, which will be held at our Boys and Girls Club this summer. And it's something that she's taking the lead on, and it's going to be a great opportunity for her to shine and just fulfill just part of her calling that she feels, is just to be a culinary master chef. So these are just two of the young people that we have there out of the hundreds that we serve. I'm so proud and honored to be before you all, and I encourage you all to come out for that event and just come by anytime. We're here at the Boys and Girls Club. We are really striving for our young people to be everything that they can be. Academic success, I cannot stress how important that is for us. We have a great reading program, a great pilot program that's just being launched by Boys and Girls Club of America, which is called Brain Game, where we're actually helping the kids every day to do those things necessary so they won't lose that information over the summertime. So really excited about that. We're doing some great things there, and again, thank you all for your time. And if the young people here, if you would like to have any questions for them or anything, please feel free. So again, thank you for your time, and God bless.
I don't know that we have any questions, but just to let you know how very proud we are of you and your accomplishments, and we thank you very much for everything that you are doing in the organization and it is a great event, and it really does showcase what Boys and Girls Club means and what it's all about. So I just say to you, thank you. Thank you for everything you do, and we are very proud of both of you and all of the boys and girls.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our final speaker is Chris Dove, 852 Colonel Meade Drive, representing self, regarding apparent voter fraud committed by the City of Suffolk.
Well, I disagree with you on many decisions as council. That's not the reason that you see me so often. It's not what you do, but how you do it. Instead of being honest and upfront in your you use lies, misinformation, and fraud to accomplish your goals. I first became aware of your fraud when you claimed a part of a sentence in a conditional rezoning was illegal, but the rest of the sentence and the rezoning itself were legal. The supposedly illegal part prevented your development friend from making millions of additional dollars. I observed numerous deceptions since. For example, last year, the mayor stated the city manager would get the same salary increase as everyone else, while all along, council had planned on giving her a huge salary increase after the elections. Most recently, you falsely claimed 50% of the budget would be spent on education in order to justify continued underfunding of our schools. Now I find you're committing voting fraud. Thanks to the upcoming special election in the 14th district, I discovered you are falsely informing citizens of their voting precincts. You displayed false precinct maps during the city redistricting hearings, at the council meeting approving the redistricting plan, and even now on the city website. The maps clearly show my neighborhood of West Haven Lakes being entirely in the Holy Neck borough. Yet my new voting registration card, the voting city registrar, and the state registrar all show me in the Suffolk borough. In fact, most of my neighbors are still in the Suffolk borough. The dividing line between the boroughs, instead of being Lake Mead, as you falsely presented, is in fact the property line between my neighbor and myself. My neighbor and her street were moved into the Holy Neck borough. The rest of us were not. My voter registration card shows my voting place is Elephants Fork, West Haven, in the borough of Suffolk. Yet the maps show the entire neighborhood is West Haven Lakes in the Holy Neck borough. The redistricting plan made no mention of Elephants Fork, West Haven precinct. Councilman Parr has been aware of this issue for some time since my neighbor brought the issue up with him earlier. So is Councilman Gardy or Councilman Parr my representative? I know I'm not the only one wondering. Approximately 150 of my neighbors have been shown that they are in one precinct while they're actually in another. How many other precinct borders have been secretly moved? This is also a Voting Rights Act consideration. You secretly shifted approximately 150 Caucasian voters into a majority-minority borough. Is Suffolk Borough still a majority-minority borough? Or have you moved enough Caucasian voters into the borough to allow Councilman Parr to keep his council seat next year? I choose to address this council in a public setting so that the citizens can see and hear your response to my issues. Today, you have had the same response to all my issues. Silence. Councilman Gardy put it best when he stated he has a policy of not addressing public issues in a public forum, although you all seem to address other people's issues. So please explain to me how the deliberate misrepresentation of district boundaries and the associated impact on a majority-minority voting district is not voting fraud. As usual, at least you're consistent.
That concludes the speakers, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll move on now to new business. Madam Clerk, do we have any additions to tonight's agenda?
We do have two items regarding boards and commissions appointments. The following individuals have been nominated for consideration. For the Sister Cities Commission, Patricia Iannetta, and for the Welfare Advisory Board, Betty Ann Montgomery.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion to approve. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8 to 0.
Thank you. Is there anyone that has anything to bring before council this evening that would require a vote? Councilman Parr?
I don't know if it's going to require a vote or not, but I just want to get clarification. We had a correspondence sent out by the city manager in reference to getting out the message about the unattended tethering thing and how we were going to disperse that information. I just want to make sure that we move forward because I think it comes into effect in September, and I just want to make sure that we send it out to all the households like we've always done with anything that we've changed. And I don't know if that needs to be a vote or just a guidance or what.
Madam Manager?
Sir, I think if there's consensus, because as a staff, we'd like to get the information out to as many people as possible. We're getting questions about the changes and when it will go into effect. I think in my information to you all is that we'd like to move forward as quickly as we can. There are only 2 months left before the change in the code goes into effect, and we certainly want to make sure every community that we can get information out to, we do.
So would you like that in a motion, or would you like that us just to say okay?
If there's consensus, or?
Do we need a motion? To me, I think that's an administrative issue. That would be my. Councilman Fawcett?
Well, I'm not sure because.
Vote.
My take on it is a substantial dollar amount here that's going to be entailed to get the information out to the total public, and I'm not so sure that I'm in favor of that. I don't think every household in Suffolk needs to have some kind of mailing on the tethering issue. There's other provisions and ways to handle that. I'm not sure a total mailer is the way to go, or a cost of that total mailer. For instance, if it came to me, you know, if I don't have the interest of an animal, which I don't have time for, I love them, but I don't have time for it, I'm not even going to pay attention to it. And what does it do to validate the average person that's going to get it anyway? I don't see it.
Okay, I tend to have a different take on that. I think we're changing a law. Whether you have an animal or don't have an animal, you will be abiding by the law, and some of this is complaint driven. If you do not know the law, how would you even know that a person needed?
Well, we have so many methods in the city to be able to get that law information out other than spending $16,000 of the taxpayers' money. I mean, I'm looking at libraries, I'm looking at city website, newspapers, things of this nature that can help us. And your police officers, when they're going to go there, they're going to educate them with it anyway. So I'm not so sure a total mailer is the answer.
Okay, I personally don't want a police officer having to come educate me on the new law. I prefer to know the law and never to have to deal with it because I'm abiding by it. Vice Mayor Brown?
Yeah, I was going to say that I think it's very important that it would be a city that is consistent and fair to all. If we send anyone a mailing list, a certain group of mail, then we'll be consistent and send it to all citizens. And if it costs, it's cost. But we got to be fair, and we got to be consistent. And I'm not saying you cannot use other means, but we just cannot send something to me and don't send it to Charles Parr. That's not the American way. But I can understand where you're coming from. So I really think it's an administrative decision, and just let them handle this. And I think by law, we know whatever you do for one, we have to do it for all. So that's where I stand.
Councilman Duman?
Thank you, Mayor. In regards to the mailing, I appreciate what Councilman Fawcett's saying, and also, respect the staff's decision. We have roughly, I believe, 6,224 dog licenses were issued, and I realize that there's also citizens that probably have dogs that weren't licensed. I do know that this ordinance will also have an effect on a lot of individuals, maybe even those that don't own a dog. It would be my personal preference. I feel like we only need to send it to those 6,224 That's just my opinion, but I also respect the opinion of staff, and if they want to move forward and send it to everyone, I don't have an issue with it.
Councilman Gardy?
I have nothing on this issue. I got another request.
Councilman Parr, is yours on the same issue?
Yeah, I just want to kind of, as Councilman Dooman said about there might be 6,000 people that have the license and register their dogs. Those are the people that follow the rules. It's all the other folks that aren't following the rules that need to get the copy of the rules so that they'll understand the rules. And any of us up here, we all know, we're not kidding anybody, we know that folks are going to break the rules. So you got to have, and we really need neighbors looking out for each other. I mean, I was in a neighborhood yesterday and pit bull ran past me. He wasn't tethered, and he didn't have a license, and he didn't have a collar. And I'm sure his owner could care less what the rules are, but at least when they go to court and they're cited or get a citation or whatever, they can't say, well, nobody sent me nothing. I didn't know nothing about no law and all. And, say, well, it wasn't dispersed to me, especially if we send it to 6,000 people and the rest of them don't get it, they're going to say, what are we doing? Are we separating us out? I mean, that's just my opinion. And I'm looking at it from a legal thing. If they come into court, is that a defense for them to say, hey, I didn't know nothing about it. I don't know what the rules are. And we all know that people are going to break the rules, and laws and locks and all that are for honest people. So with that, I think it's no different than the trash, the recycling things, and all that we've done. We've always dispersed it out to everybody. I think we were going to do the disbursement, even though we weren't changing it hadn't had the unattended on there. Wasn't that still going to go out, that we were going to have a zero tethering law? I mean, so I'm asking, my question is what's the difference between doing it now and what we were going to do previously? I mean, aren't we doing the same thing? It's just changing.
The goal is to, you have over 86,000 people in the city. You have over 30+ thousand households. And certainly we're going to try to get the best buys we can as it relates to the marketing. But the goal is to get it out to all the citizens that make up our community and not a select few based upon registration, et cetera. That is what we recommend, and certainly we will follow the will of City Council. But the goal is we have 2 months. The laws go into effect September 1st, and our preference is to work quickly to get the information out to the public and answer as many questions as we can based upon phone calls we are receiving. That is the recommendation of the administration.
And I assume being as fiscally responsible as absolutely
as always.
possible. Right. Is it the consensus of the council, do we want to vote, or is it consensus of the council?
I guess we should, and I'm going to make a motion that to direct the mayor and staff to.
Manager, not the mayor.
Manager, I'm sorry.
No, thanks.
It's
11:38.
on vacation.
To have the information dispersed out to the individual houses, whatever the proper procedure is going to be, like we've done in the past.
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we will distribute to the entire population the changing of the law. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
The motion is approved by a vote of 7-1 with Councilmember Fawcett voting in opposition.
Thank you. Councilman Gardy.
I would like also if we could have our city manager work with our legal staff in getting us a refresher on the boundaries of our districts, so that if there's any problems in those districts between the registration folks and what have you, that'll all be cleared up before the next election, and maybe we can have that prepared by as early as possible, because I don't think there's any problem with it, but it doesn't hurt to check it and make sure that everybody understands, because that's new as well, and everybody understands the true boundaries of the new districts. Certainly we worked hard enough to get them, and I think we got to know where they are, but it doesn't hurt to show the public again. So that would be my request.
And I do think it needs to be understood that what was done was approved by the DOJ. So,
Right.
I mean, it's not like anything has been secretively done. So, but You want that in a motion? Or are you putting?
I don't know that we need a
Go
motion.
ahead and make 'em. Put it in a motion.
That's just so,
To bring us back a report after,
yeah. Do you want to make that a motion?
I would.
will.
I think
Okay,
you
I'll
should.
make a motion that a report of the return.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to have the manager and the legal bring us back a report on the boundaries. Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
Motion is approved by a vote of 8 to 0.
Thank you. Now, any other new business? If not, we'll move on to announcements and comments, and we'll ask Media and Community Relations Manager Tim Kelly if he has announcements.
Good evening again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council, City Manager. We lead off tonight with a good news story involving the youth of our community. The 2013 Suffolk Youth Achievement Awards recognize some of the brightest stars in our city at the event on June the 11th. Councilmember Charles Parr and City Manager Selena Cuffey-Glenn presented awards for the following: Rising Star, K. Ron Saunders; Outstanding Community Service, Emily Grace Bazemore; Outstanding Athletic Achievement, Ashley Roten; Outstanding Athletic Participation, Skylar Wall; Outstanding Performing Arts, Sydney Presley; Outstanding Group Citizenship Award went to Kings Fork High School's IBCAS Tabernacle Christian Church Project, which included Brittany Corner, Liga Orquita, Jasmine Parham, and Outstanding Youth Leadership to Kayla Vincent. Congratulations to all of these young people for working hard to set an example for their peers. The Suffolk Department of Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission, in conjunction with the Suffolk Office on Youth, had accepted nominations for these awards, which honor those youth who have significantly impacted the lives of local residents and in the process have inspired others to make a difference. On the ribbon-cutting front, we recognize the Hobby Game and Sports Station, now open at 147 North Main Street. The Hobby Game and Sports Station specializes in sporting goods, athletic gear, clothing, and equipment, all on consignment. Treasured Memories has opened a new consignment shop next door to their scrapbook store at 1009 West Washington Street. The Treasured Memories consignment shop features new and slightly used clothing, household items, furniture, jewelry, and knickknacks. We also want to honor Belk's 125th anniversary. Belk has had a retail presence in Suffolk since 1998. The retailer has expanded to 301 locations in 16 states and has a growing online base. Suffolk's National Night Out event is just around the corner. The annual Just Say No to Crime event set for Tuesday, August the 6th. Well, last night here in City Council Chamber, the Suffolk National Night Out Committee held a community kickoff event to provide an opportunity for communities and businesses to sign up their organization for the big night. If you haven't signed up your neighborhood, community, civic group, or business, you still have time. Visit suffolknno.org for more information. The first Suffolk Parks and Recreation TGIF concert set for this Friday night at Constance Wharf Park and Marina. Strictly Business is the band on tap for the first of 8 free concerts this year. Friday's event will commemorate Business Appreciation Week and is presented by the Suffolk Economic Development Authority. Also to note, the famed National Night Out Duck Race is scheduled as part of the TGIF series on Friday, July the 19th. For all concerts, the park will open at 6, with the concert portion running from 6:30 to 9:30. Suffolk Animal Care and the Suffolk Humane Society will have an adopt-a-thon this weekend at the Suffolk Animal Care Center at 124 Forest Glen Drive. The event is scheduled from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Suffolk Stars and Stripes Spectacular will illuminate the night sky on Thursday, July the 4th at Constance Wharf Park. The park will open at 5:30 with the scheduled activities running from 6 till 9:30. The fireworks go off at 9. The band Hotcakes will play during the event with an encore performance after the fireworks at until 9:30, I should say. This is free and, of course, open to the public. There will be no on-site parking except for citizens with disabilities. A free shuttle service will be provided with stops at various locations throughout the downtown area. The shuttle will run until 10:30 that night. This year's event will include a children's area with inflatables and other children's activities for children ages 10 and under. The cost for the children's events are $5 per child for unlimited access. City of Suffolk offices will be closed for the July 4th holiday and reopen on Friday, July the 5th. Trash collection will run on a one-day delay, with Thursday's route that week picked up on Friday and Friday's route picked up on Saturday. We're happy to announce that Aziz Felder has been selected as the new director of the Suffolk Department of Social Services. His appointment comes after 6 months in the role of interim director since the retirement of former director Leonard Horton in November of 2012. Felder has over 23 years of experience in the human services field, which includes 14 years of working for the Administration of Children's Services in New York City. As a reminder to citizens, of course, we mentioned this earlier, the ordinance banning the unattended tethering of dogs will go into effect September 1st of this year. There will be publicized information to come, including printed materials, information on the city's website, as well as video segments to be aired on the city's municipal channel and, of course, streamed online. For more information, contact the Suffolk Animal Care Center at 514-7855. As the hot temperatures have rolled in, unfortunately, so have some severe storms. And, of course, we have information on the city's website related to staying safe during storm activities. And, of course, we also will be providing timely updates through our social media outlets. But tonight we have a few tips when it comes to dealing with severe weather. When traveling, be sure to use caution while driving. Watch for storm debris, downed power lines, and tree limbs of roadways. You can call 511 or visit www.511virginia.org for 24/7 road condition information. Now, at home, of course, you want to be sure to note that portable generators are to be run only outside. Keep them at least 10 feet away from your home and connect appliances directly to the generator. Do not use candles for light. Also, if you want to avoid loose or dangling electrical wires. Regarding food safety, it's noted that refrigerators will store food safely for up to 4 hours without power if the door is unopened. Freezers that are half full will hold food safely for up to 24 hours without power. A full freezer will hold food safety for 48 hours. And again, that's just a few severe weather tips to pass along. And we list again the ways we communicate with our residents. Feel free to visit the city's website at suffolkva.us or contact the city's main switchboard at 514-4000 for any assistance that we can provide. And with that, thank you and good night.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll move on to announcements and comments from council, and we'll start with Councilman Duman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief, as is the direction this evening. I attended the Youth Achievement Awards at the Cultural Arts Center, where the keynote speaker was our very own City Attorney, Ms. Helleby Holland. I enjoyed her words, and I think the theme was celebrating today's youth, recognizing tomorrow's leaders, and I think it hit it right on the head. Congratulations to all those individuals. Congratulations to Mr. Felder for being selected as the Director of the Department of Social Services. Quick special thank you to our City Manager and Mr. Eric Nielsen for expeditiously resolving a couple issues for me, even faster than they normally do, which is pretty good. And also, I'd like to thank our Chief of Staff, for Miss Debbie George, for responding to a couple of issues that I had late Friday night. I mean, it was 7:30, and she was either working late or had that thing on a delay send. I don't know how it works, but I want to thank you for getting back to me late Friday. And with us not meeting before July 4th, my quote of the evening will refer to our Declaration of Independence, and it is by Marion Wright Edelman, I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly. And that is, the Declaration of Independence was always our vision of who we wanted to be, our ideal of freedom and justice, how we were going to be different, and what the American experiment was going to be about. And with that, I wish you all a good evening.
Thank you. Councilman Miltier.
Just want to remind the citizens that June the 30th is a deadline for filing for tax exemption for the seniors and the handicapped. That want to remind you that on the month of June and July, 3 council members are celebrating their birthday. The mayor, the vice mayor, and one of our new council members are celebrating their birthdays during the last part of June and the first part of July.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Parr.
Thank you. Just want to say congratulations to Mr. Fielder, and want to thank Public Works for that beautiful curb and gutter and road work in the Boston area. I rode down there. I wish I had a skateboard, not really because I broke my arm, but it really is pretty over there. And also want to say thank you to Debbie George for all her correspondence back and forth, because we get a lot of that, and to the clerk and the assistant clerk for all their help. And with that, happy 4th of July and good evening.
Thank you. Councilman Gardy.
I want to say first, congratulations to the Boys and Girls Scouts, not the Scouts, club that appeared here tonight. And I want to extend a challenge to the young lady for a bake-off, because I'm good. I want you to know I'm good. And anytime you want to set it up, I'll be ready for the baby.
He is good.
Now, my second thing is my grandkid and daughter came in from Chattanooga Monday evening, and I've been having a delightful time enjoying my daughter and the granddaughters for the last couple, 3 days. We rode around the golf course today and scared the fauna running around over there, and it was delightful. But, girls, it's time to get your nighties on and get ready for bed. And Granddad will be home shortly. With that, everybody have a safe 4th of July.
Councilman Ward.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the graduates and for this year graduation, and also good job for the teachers. Well deserved, and I think they did a good job. I had an opportunity to go to Virginia Beach where my other grandson graduated from 5th grade. He was kind of excited. Then I worked my way back to Suffolk, to Northern Shore 5th grade graduation. It was very crowded. The young kids were very enthusiastic. You know how they are when they're young. And I looked around and I watched some of the parents, and we have a lot of military up in my area, so that's rewarding to know that when they're out in war, we try and do a good job with the young kids. So I just looked and admired that and looked at it and started thinking, what can we do to even make public school even a little better here in Suffolk? Second thing, I went to Creekside. That's my other grandson at, and that was really packed. So I enjoyed that because a lot of the kids have seen me before, so they said to me, "Hi, Councilman," so that was pretty good. And I'm always excited to see young kids being so excited, especially in graduation, and that's where my heart lies with the school system. But there's one young man that he was, I think he was handicapped, he's in a wheelchair, and he stole the show. His name was Jose. He got about 5 awards, and every time he'd go up, he'd smile with his head back, and the kids would give him a standing ovation. So that's real exciting that day. The second thing is that I'd like to congratulate Mr. Felder for being appointed for the new job, and also I'd like to thank the city manager and Eric, because you get the job done kind of fast. A couple of things I asked you to do. I think that's so much, and I think Huntersville had something that you might have took care of. They had a little trash, and for the park, they're trying to put something on. So with that, I'll say, God bless.
Councilman Fawcett.
Good evening. I went and also attended with everybody else in here the Young Achievers Award. I just love to see every one of those young folks up there. It was so brilliant. And Hilify, great. That speech you gave was great. It was inspirational to all of them, I'm sure. But just goes to show you what the minds can really do if they really put themselves out there in front and want to do it. Mr. Felder, congratulations on the promotion up to the Social Services Director. And I would like everybody to have a safe 4th of July. And I want to thank the city staff, the city manager, and all of you for all the hard work you do each and every day. And we'll see you in July. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you so much. First, I want to congratulate Roger for your birthday.
Thank you.
And he looks mighty young. And the mayor for her birthday. Both
Not
of you.
having any.
You say that you don't get older, you get more wisdom. So congratulations for the getting more wisdom. I do want to congratulate the Boys and Girls Clubs. I can remember it took us about 3-4 years working steadily until you came to Suffolk, and we was able to work with the principal at that school at that time, and she was took us at John F. Kennedy School, and I constantly would go down and make sure that everything was okay. And I can say this: you have done a very, very good job, and just the small things that you do create big results when you work with the youth. So here again, thanks so much for all you do. And here again, if you need us, by all means, let us know if we can help you. Mr. Fielder, congratulations. I can remember you walking in here many times with your head down, wondering when was this thing going to happen. But the night you came in, your head was up, you were smiling, you were walking fast, you looking like you was going places. So you can tell when people get good results. So congratulations to you for just staying focused and not giving up on your dream. I appreciate that. I do want to say about National Night Out. Last night was the kickoff, and I was very excited. Councilman Paul was here to see so many community leaders to come out, getting a little package, getting all psyched up, and I think they are ready to work with the police and other to root out crime in their neighborhoods. So I'm very excited about that. And for the other communities, if it's not too late, we don't want to leave no one out, so you may want to act, and hopefully we can get you in this round. So for representing your community, so for the National Night Out. I do want to say a couple things about the planning. Yesterday I got word, and I said, wow. But anyway, I do want to say this, that the Habitat for Humanity, they have always done a good job, not only in the city of Suffolk, but they have done a good job nationally. And any time that you have an organization of this magnitude that's going to help individuals own a home and the community pitch in and help so you can get a good quality home for low possible cost, we all should always do all we can to open our communities, and anywhere and any place that we have an opportunity to put a home for Habitat for Humanity, we should do that. And I think we have an opportunity to do that within the Cypress district this time. And I was talking to, I think, William and Goodman and some others, just what the problem was. And basically, it's not about Habitat for Humanity. I think they just want to have an idea, work with council and the city managing staff to see how they can have a comprehensive approach to develop that 3.1 acres of land. So, Ms. City Manager, maybe you can give us some ideas to the community to help us, because it was and it still began to get an undercurrent. You always have those naysayers always want to put something in the game and change the directions. But I am refused to let this change direction. It's good for the city of Suffolk. It's been good for Cypress, and it's good for the homeowners. So we need that project within the city of Suffolk. And without that, I just wish all of you a good 4th, and to remember what it's all about, celebrating independence. We have a great country, and have a great time celebration, and we see you whenever we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to also offer my congratulations to Mr. Felder. When I came here after college, my first job was in social services, and I know what it means to so many, many people. It's such a huge responsibility, and I congratulate you, and I look forward to your leadership. I also want to send a thank you to Public Works, because that last storm we had, there was a huge tree that fell on Route 17 and caused a lot of power to leave northern Suffolk for quite a while, but it was an awesome job, as always. It was just attended to very quickly. I want to thank Debbie George, because I think I probably texted you more than any human being that night, and got a quick response each and every time, because people were saying, when's the power coming back on? Where's the tree? How did it fall? How big is it? So it was huge. It was absolutely huge, but we thank you for a job well done. I also just want to say, last week we had a Finance Committee meeting, and I want to throw out a kudo to our finance department. They have worked so hard. They have really done such an excellent job. We have new people in the department doing great jobs every day under the great leadership of Ann Seward. And I just want to thank you very much for what you're doing. The numbers are great. We're looking solid. Our audits on everything is looking so good. And it's just such a privilege to go to that meeting and to be able to come out of there knowing that those things are the way they are. And we will be taking that message to New York next week, so we're looking forward to a good outcome. I also want to say we did something important tonight, which was to do the resolution for Healthy People, Healthy Suffolk. That's very important. And I'm going to throw an extra challenge into Councilman Gardy's challenge. What he bakes has to be healthy. So now I think we have a new challenge into the whole piece of it, and it will be a very interesting bake-off. So, but we've done a lot of good things, and that's something that we really needed to do, and I look forward to working with your group. Boys and Girls Club, you're awesome. You do a great job each and every day. Reggie, you've shown us great things in the past 5 years. So I just want to say I think we're doing extremely well. I think we're in a great place, and have a very, very happy 4th of July. And with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Please prepare to vote. Please vote. Madam Clerk.
The motion is approved by a vote of 8 to 0.